Each object represents more than just what it is.
We really see objects as an entry point to telling a larger story.
The typewriter certainly is an object that is pretty much relegated to the past.
At first glance, it just looks like a typewriter. But when you do dive just a little bit deeper and look at the history of it, it's, again, that entry point of telling such a big, big story.
This typewriter, although it is a typical typewriter manufactured in the United States, it is especially important because of the person who owned it and used it, and during the time of when he owned it.
That's actually the typewriter that belonged to Howard Rock. Howard Rock was the founder and publisher of the Tundra Times. The Tundra Times was the first newspaper that had a statewide reach into rural Alaska and covered Alaska Native issues pretty much almost exclusively.
That one object can be unassuming, and yet in this context can kind of open up into something so much bigger.
The early articles for the Tundra Times were typed up on that typewriter. It was very important. So a lot of history was contained within Tundra Times and the typewriter.
Those stories come alive because of this object, and so when you look at this object, it represents more than just a typewriter.
Really was a unifying voice for the Alaska Native people during the 1960s until December 18th, 1971, when Richard Nixon signed the Alaska Native Claims Settlement Act into law. So it's a pretty important piece.
These are living objects. These are things that are part of a living culture.
All those connections, to me, enrich my life, and I think they can enrich other people's lives.
I hope people feel when they come through here that there's an element of discovery, that some of their expectations were overturned.
My hope is that they see what an amazing, phenomenal place that we live in and want to be inspired to know more about that history and pursue something having to do with shaping the future.